Good morning, good morning. It is Tuesday once again. These weeks are flying by and it is freezing here. We actually had frost everywhere this morning. So I was up at 7 and I think it was about 6 degrees and everything was covered in frost. So we're going to get all the paddocks. The only problem when we get frost is the paddocks end up, it burns all the grass. So we try and keep our grass a bit longer in the paddocks, and that protects the grass underneath. So hopefully the cattle will all be happy. And the sheep don't seem to care, so all good. We've still got plenty of grass for them, but yeah, I'm not a fan of frost, especially if you have a vegetable garden. That ends up killing that as well. Good morning, Odette. I doubt you would have got any frost out there on the Gold Coast, but it was so cold. It's still cold here. I'm in my garage, which is usually warm. My hands are freezing. So we're not good in cold weather, us Queenslanders. So hi Jennifer and Chloe. Yeah, so I will. Our house is it's like a Queenslander style house. It's off the floor, off the ground. It's sort of raised wooden floors. Yeah, it's built for for hot weather, not for cold weather. So it's freezing. Oh, you can't hear anything? I hope. Hold on, let me check. The sound. Can anyone else put whether they can hear me? That's on. It's only hot here, 41 degrees. Oh, good. Volume is fine. Thanks, Gay. Sorry, Karen. Maybe you've just got your headphones might be not plugged in properly or something. I think, yeah, it's just you, Karen. Thank God it's not me. All right. So yeah, it's insanely hot there, Jennifer. 41. Oh my God, that is hot. We don't even really get to 41 that often here. Around 38, 39 is a very hot day for us. So crazy. All right. Anyway, I'll warm up soon. The sun's out, but it's not very warm. Okay. All right, so today, let me just find my notes. Today, I thought I'd just get on here and answer some questions. So for those that are regular around here, know I'm running Soft Pastel Week at the moment, and that's to celebrate the opening of the Creative Barn Premium tier. The doors only open twice a year for that, so they're open for the next 2 weeks, okay? So if you want to join the premium tier and work pretty closely with me, then there is a link in the description of this post. Plus, there's links all over Facebook. If you haven't joined Soft Pastel Week, at the moment, over my shoulder here, let me just make sure I can use just down here. This is as far as we have got so far, so it's still not too late to join. The link for that is also in the comments. So we're working on this gorgeous dog. So we did the background yesterday and this little bit of his body. So we're actually going to be drawing again on Wednesday night. So still a while till we do the next section. We're going to start on the face and do the eyes and that. So definitely not too late to join. All of the sessions are recorded of Soft Pastel Week, and you get lifetime access for that. Okay, if you're already in my membership, don't pay. You get access for that already. You should hopefully already be in there. So yeah, so both links to the Creative Barn and Pastel Week are in those in the comments, okay? So, but because I've been running Soft Pastel Week, I've been getting some questions which I get quite a lot. So just things about, not so much about the different types of pastels. These are more things that are general art related questions. Things like procrastination, motivation, time management, all of that sort of stuff. I did put out on my page, on the Kez Art page, last week, a question of what's your biggest challenge when it comes to creating art, and I got quite a few great challenges there. So I thought I would go through and sort of read out some of the questions, and also I've put answers to what I sort of think, so I thought I would use that as a good talking point today. So again, also if you've got any questions, oh, hold on, Teresa, let me move this closer then. So if you have any questions, or you have challenges as well when it comes to your art, you could pop them just in the comments as well. Okay, hopefully you can hear me better. All right, I'm just looking at this microphone. I think it's all good. Okay. All right, I'll try and talk loud. All right, so I get this one a lot about time. I did put a questionnaire up in my essentials tier of the Creative Barn, and about 60% of the answers were time. Okay, so that is a big one. And if you are in Soft Pastel Week, tonight I'm going to talk more about time management. We'll focus on that a bit more in the live session that's on tonight. And also, if you join the Creative Barn before Thursday midnight, with your welcome pack, I'll be posting out this little time management book that I have created. It's got some sort of activities and stuff inside it as well, and all about time management. If you're already inside the Creative Barn, I will share the PDF for this, but it is an early bird bonus for anyone new joining the Creative Barn before Thursday night. They'll actually get a hard copy of it as well. Okay, but so time management is a big one. So I think Catherine said that her biggest struggle was cost and time. So she said, I wish there was more money in the kitty for the production side, and then because I work Monday to Friday is the time. And I did get that quite a few in quite a few comments, very similar things. So yeah, unfortunately the money side, I can't really help you with that too much, other than maybe try and sell your work. I do talk about that in one of the other questions, which I'll mention a bit later. But yeah, with the time, I've got just different ways of which to really help with that. You need to be kind of disciplined, I suppose, and create more time. We all have the same amount of time, don't we? We all have 24 hours in a day. But some people seem to get a lot more done than others. And I think if you sat and wrote down exactly what you're doing each day for over a week, and then you could probably figure out there could be some areas in your day that you could change to fit in more time. And it also depends how much you really want it as well, like how you prioritize your art as to where you will fit it in. Like we'll book a doctor's appointment or a hair appointment, and you know, especially a hair appointment, that's like half a day, by the time you get it cut, coloured, foiled, you know, there's at least 4 hours gone. And we'll book that in our calendar and go, yep, I've got to do that, or a doctor's appointment, dentist, any of that. But maybe if you're struggling for time, you need to book art time into your calendar as well, and and make it compulsory. You can't change that time. But there's all different things like that that you can do to help. So, but yeah, time is a very common one. I've just got to keep changing back to my Facebook page to see any questions you guys have. Let me see. Other options for blending on pastel mat when I don't have soft tools. Gay, you can use, if you build up enough layers, you can use your finger, but a lot of my students will sometimes buy makeup sponges because the soft pastel sponges look like makeup sponges. So, you know, your round ones, or there's like different shape ones. If you go to, I'm not sure, there's a few like $2 stores kind of things that sell little sponge packs in the makeup section. So you could try that. Okay, so Diane was just saying she's warming her hands around a cup of coffee. That sounds good. Odette has too much time but no management. That's all right. I don't think you struggle to get your creative time in, Odette. It's more people who they plan to do creative time in the week, and then the week's gone and they've got nothing done. So I used to get up an hour earlier, just before everything happens, you know, before the day starts, and get some creative time in then. So, all right, Cheryl, how do you find art competitions in your area? I would start at your local art society. That is the best place to start. Pretty much most towns have an art society. So get into that. There is a website. Is it Art Prizes? Hold on, just let me have a little look. Art Prizes. Most in all different countries, there's all different websites as well. Yeah, so I think it's artprizes.com. Lists all the different art prizes in Australia. They probably also do international as well. Okay, so check that one out. It just has them all listed, but if your art prizes, so it's www.art-prizes.com. Okay, but that is all like I said, it's Australian, but it could also be international. Just look up art prizes online, and it should give you different websites that have everything listed. But if you're just starting out, some of those prizes are like the big prizes. Some are more smaller ones, but I wouldn't, if I'm just starting out, I wouldn't be going straight to trying to win the Archibald or something like that, or the Glover Prize or any of the big ones. I would start at my local art society, okay? And maybe our one here, every 2 months, they do a members competition. I think you can win $50, but you're going against maybe 20 other people or so, and they're all in different stages of learning. So you'll have beginners, you'll have more experience, because art societies they're not picking who can be in it. Like, they'll accept any member's work, so you get a great variety of beginner through to more advanced. So that's where I would definitely be starting. Okay. Oh, my thing keeps moving. Having a designated space certainly helps with time if you don't have to pack up in the middle of a piece. Yes, 100%. That was one of the questions I had was, got to try and find them. There's so many here. Let me just see if I can see it. If not, no, I can't see it. But yeah, pretty much One of the questions was pretty much what you said, Di, is they're working kind of on the kitchen bench essentially, and it's really hard when you don't have a designated art space to create the time to do it, because you've got so many distractions. I used to sit at my kitchen bench, which not my kitchen, but the dining table. So I'd wait till after dinner, clear up, wash up, all the rest of it. You've got teenagers, like, well, I had teenagers and they're like running around. My husband, our dining room was open to the lounge, so he'd be watching TV. And yeah, it was just such an effort to even set up in that environment. And then knowing you've got to pack up as well. So yeah, it can be frustrating. So you really need to try and find a designated art space for you that you don't need to pack up. And that's why I love pastels, because there isn't a lot of pack up. So you don't need to clean brushes or, scrape a palette, any of that sort of stuff. You can just set up to draw and walk away and come back, as long as it's not in a space that you need to clear off all the time. Okay, even just a tiny desk in the corner somewhere that can just be your art space. It's so important to have that. All right. Jennifer, if we paint the background of pastel matte with gouache instead of pastels, is it still safe to tape the edges of the paper to MDF board while working on the rest of the piece, or will it ruin the painted edges? No, I found, Jennifer, this is a membership related question. We were doing, let me see if you can see that tiger back there. So that is on pastel matte, and if anyone knows pastel matte, the darkest you can get is anthracite, which is dark grey, but we wanted it black. So we painted the pastel matte with gouache, so black gouache. Gouache is an opaque watercolour. And no, Jennifer, I've done 3 now where I've still taped them exactly the same, and not once has it lifted any paint. And I think the reason for that is because the gouache is a watercolour and pastel matte just sucks it in. Even inks and that, normally with watercolour and that on paper, it floats around on top and eventually soaks into the paper. Whereas pastel matte, the minute you put it down, it just sucks it straight on in there. So it kind of, it's not like, say, an acrylic or something that sits on top. It actually soaks right into the paper, so it sort of becomes part of the paper. So yeah, not once did I have any trouble with that. So, all right, for those in Southeast Queensland, Bell Art Group have a great art show in February each year with over 300 entries and over 20 categories. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Gay. What is it? Bell Art Group. Okay, I'll write that down. Group Art Prize. Try having space in a caravan. Well, you know what? I'm travelling next year with my husband. We're travelling around Australia, and I plan on meeting up with all my members and also teaching workshops as we're going, especially to remote regional areas. I'm not going to be teaching workshops in major towns, but I want to try and get art out to some of these regional areas. So yeah, I'll be working and coming live to everyone from my caravan. So I'm yet to experience that, but it's going to be pretty tricky. All right, Di's got a sewing machine type cupboard table on wheels with flip out table sides, could help. Mobile and compact and easy to slide things over from the dining table if you need a larger space. That is a brilliant idea. My mum's always been into sewing, and yeah, she has one. I know exactly what you mean. The sewing machine tables, yeah, they're on wheels. It all folds back down but spreads out. That's a great idea, and you could probably pick those up secondhand. They've been around forever, haven't they? So that could be a great option if you do need to, you know, pack up a little bit, or you're very limited for space, that could at least be your little studio on wheels. And again, like I said, pastels are brilliant for not having to clean anything off. So they're an easy one that you might just do half an hour, and it's not a big deal. You can get straight into your painting. You don't have to muck around setting up. So, all right, let me come back to some of these questions. So what's Christy Lynn has? Oh, that was making time for her and not feeling guilty. She should be doing other things. So again, the time, but this then tugs on all women, I think, especially those with kids. We've always spent all our life just putting our family first, and then we do get guilty when we're doing our art instead of maybe doing the dishes or washing the clothes or changing the beds or vacuuming or mopping, or the list goes on and on. It never stops. So again, that's prioritizing, putting you first. And I think if you get to my age, then it's about time you start putting yourself first, definitely. And they can wait on you instead. So yeah, it is important to put yourself higher. I know it's hard, but it's something you've got to wrap your brain around and put your art quite high, as it is important. Okay, Suzanne said her frustration is what to draw first. So it's definitely one that I suppose a few of us would come across, because you have so many ideas, and I say I've got folders with reference images everywhere. I've got folders of other artists' work that is inspiring to me. I take a million reference photos myself. There's just, you're flicking through Facebook or anywhere and you see something, you're like, wow, I'd love to give that a go, or I really love the way they did that background. How could I incorporate that in my work? And, that's inspiration is everywhere, and it's good, but really knowing what to draw first, I suppose, when you've got too many things, yeah, it can be a bit hard. So I think I would make a list of what, like all the things I want to do, all the, like, I've got a heap I want to do of dingoes and Fraser Island, and then I might see something else. I want to do some of my sheep. I want to, do this and that. There's so many. But I think make a list of all the things you want to draw that you've got in your head, and then go back through that list and look at which one probably excites you the most, I suppose. Which one, like, you really get inspired by, and maybe go with that one first. So that's the only that's my suggestion, is if you're not sure what to go paint first, but you have all these ideas, I'm sure one of them would inspire you a bit more than some of the others. So make a list and then pick the one that really inspires you. Otherwise, make a list, close your eyes, maybe, and just put your finger on one and then go with that. So, all right, what else do we have here? All right, Esma put, trying to stay confident when everyone around me is having success, but success is avoiding me. So that one, I definitely, I know it can, if you've been doing art for a while and you're plodding along and you feel like, yeah, others are, getting awards or selling work, and you're not, you're still just sort of plodding along. And I think the biggest thing there is don't compare to others, because you don't know how much time they've put into their art, or how many years they've been doing it, or whether they could be entering 10 competitions and being accepted in one. They could have a huge following that they're selling their work. They could have a big family base, or they've been doing commissions and word of mouth is out there. You just don't know. And it really is. It's just all about you just focus on your own work and your own process, and just keep going. You'll eventually it will click, and your work will just really, you'll see your work start to improve. But that's only going to happen if the more you do it. I've got a member, Farley, and Elaine, both of them, but Farley especially, he's been really putting in a lot of effort and getting a lot of work done. And it was only a few weeks ago, you could see the change in his work. And he said himself, it just sort of clicked, and he now is more confident, and he's really, really going leaps and bounds now because it's all come together. And that's from putting the work in. He draws every single day. So, and just don't compare. Make sure you're in a really supportive group as well if you're really struggling with your confidence. So try and get into a group of other artists or people that can really spur you on and encourage you. That's really important. I think art can be quite lonely, so having a great group of people around you will inspire you to keep drawing, as well as build that confidence up as well. And you can talk to them as well if you're struggling with things like that, like with comparing with others and all the rest. So, all right, just let me check back to comments. No, all good. Okay, I've got to remember to keep talking up. Hopefully you can all hear me. Okay, what did Teresa have? Teresa put, trying to create an original drawing, one that hasn't been done. Well, one that she's got at least too much. Okay, so I know that comes from when you're doing realism and working off copyright-free reference photos, especially. You do start to feel like your work is the same as everyone else's. Okay, but I think especially with realism, it's great to use copyright-free reference images. We use them all the time. Make sure they're copyright-free though. But as you progress, you'll start to get your own ideas, and that's where you need to start going and taking your own reference images. So they are your original drawing, totally. It's your idea. You can still totally do realism straight off a photo, but make sure it's a photo you've taken or you've put together from your images. Or you could use your image, but you might need a particular animal online, like you've taken the landscape. Like say I've got a lot of great fence posts here, so maybe I wanted to put a particular bird sitting on a fence post, and we get the blue-winged kookaburras here, which I did manage to get. They're pretty hard to get a photo of. I managed to get one, but maybe I have the idea. I've got the fence post and the kookaburra was sort of on it, but it's not the greatest photo. So I might use my photo for the main part, but I need a better image of the kookaburra, one where I can see more details. So that's where I'd go looking for a copyright-free reference image to help with that. So, but it's still totally original. Okay, so even as a realist artist, you can be completely original. Just coming up with those ideas, and you're not going to get those ideas just sitting at your desk. Sorry, my brush strap keeps falling down. It's annoying me. So you're not going to get those ideas just sitting at your desk. You need to get out and start taking photos, start wandering around, looking at different things, go to places that inspire you. If you love flowers, maybe go to the Botanic Gardens, things like that. If you love animals and you want to, you're thinking, I might want to do something to do with a tiger or a koala or something, then go to a zoo or somewhere that has those animals and start sort of looking around, think about composition. But don't just look at the animal. I'm always looking at backgrounds as well. Like I might see some beautiful rock formations, or the way a log's fallen over, or some branches, things like that. Get photos of those as well, because that's a really good way to build up your like your reference images, and then you can always go back to that. So definitely original drawings will come as you get better and better. Okay, it becomes easier, because once you've got the techniques down pat and you're confident in your drawing skill, then you are more confident to be able to draw things that you've taken a photo of, and you don't need a tutorial or anything like that. Okay, so I don't. You've got a sewing table in Melbourne if anyone wants it. There you go, guys. If you're in Melbourne, okay, Gay says Bell Art Group have weekend workshops, and I should contact them about running a pastel animal weekend workshop. Sorry, great idea. I keep whacking this microphone. I will write that down as well. I always take notes when I'm doing a live, because I get some great ideas from everyone. Weekend workshop. Okay, cool. Workshop, all right. And Gay is taking way too many photos. There's never enough photos, Gay. You can take millions. You never know. That's it. Again, like digital, we're all digital now, thank God. So you can take thousands of photos, because you just never know when you might need it. But I would advise, if you're taking that many photos, try and sort them. I'm pretty bad at just having a million photos all crammed into one folder. Try and sort them into trees or fences or tigers, or, sort them a little bit. Like, I think I've got one that's Aussie animals, farm animals, things like that. Wild animals, all of that. I think, keep trying to be organised is a trick as well, because otherwise we spend hours trying to find a photo we knew we took, and we want to use it as a reference, but we can't find where we took it. So, okay. All right, what did Jennifer, Jennifer as well also had feeling like my work is original. That was another one. All right, Amanda had a big question here, which I felt like it kind of would resonate with a lot, so I might read this out. So Amanda put, ideas scatteredness and having the focus to finish things. I'll come up with a ridiculous amount of ideas, try get them down on paper at least, sit down to start fleshing out one, and then just wind up doing something completely different. I follow whims based on feeling, making progress on a task in a certain wheelhouse, so to speak. But then then that reaches its natural end at that moment. The thing is usually not done. But then when I try to sit down and work on it to finish it, I can't create the feelings of interest anymore. So basically I wind up with an overwhelming amount of ideas on paper only, and half-finished projects, just taking up mental and physical space. So I'm getting better at being making progress. Okay, so I think that that can be quite common. You have so many ideas and get started, and then you lose interest, and usually it's because you've lost interest because another idea's come into your head. And Amanda's got it. It's her ADHD brain, but I feel like a lot of artists are the same. We see a lot of shiny objects all the time. It's like we're like that with our buying new art supplies as well. We're like, oh, I'm going to try that. I'll try that. But it's a bit the same if you've started work and you get to the ugly stage, which we always get to, and it's quite easy then to get distracted, come up with another idea and go over to that one. I have a thing, I think I've got, what have I got here? One painting half finished. That's it, and it's been taking me a year to do. Oh no, I haven't, I've got 2 paintings half finished. So I try to get them done. I try not to leave half-finished paintings lying around because I know that I won't get back to them. So I get in my head that I have deadlines, which really help. So you could give yourself some goals or some rewards maybe for getting it finished. And the feeling of finishing a painting to me kind of inspires me to finish it, because you get this sense of, you're proud because you finished it, and it's like this, like, I don't know, I just feel like, oh God, I've got that done, now I can move on to another one. So get that sort of drives me a bit, but also having deadlines is a big one. So with me, I get way more done because I'm doing tutorials, so I have to get new ones made for the end of the month, ready for next month in the membership. So that gets me into gear. If you're doing a commission, of course, you've got deadlines. If you've entered a competition, you've got a deadline. If you're having an exhibition, maybe a solo one, or you're doing an exhibition with others, there's another deadline. Things like that. So if you have deadlines, I think that really helps to get over that feeling. And I think the more you get finished, the more you get that feeling of accomplishment that you're trying to strive for as well. So if you're really struggling with half-finished paintings everywhere, then I would set myself a deadline and get that done. So Debbie, if that's you, I don't know if that's the question you're answering to, but yes, set yourself a deadline. All right. Let's get up. All right, so Tatiana also was talking about time. Lynn's got losing hope and therefore interest in the middle. Okay, when it has gone beyond preliminary sketch and is not yet anywhere near a finished drawing, where it looks nothing like my vision of what it should be, and I cannot see how to get there from where I am. So again, that's going through that ugly stage. And some people love the start, some people like the finish, and others love some people like the middle, some people love the finish. Usually it's the start and the finish are the most popular. The middle is always a bit of a struggle. But I think, again, this comes with doing more and more art, and you'll start to get used to your style. And I always work in a step-by-step process. So before I know it, I'm sort of, halfway through. And usually about halfway is when I'm doing the fun bits. That's when I'm sort of doing the eyes and face and all of that really detailed work that I love to do. So that can sort of keep you moving forward, which I did have another question about, how do I stop procrastinating? And that is one, again, I think we all relate to. Other things, you start cleaning your studio instead of actually getting the work done. So with that, I think my step-by-step process really helps with procrastination, because usually you procrastinate if it's too big a thing for you to get done. Like if it's sort of, you're scared to get started, it's too much. So if you break things down into littler chunks, then your procrastination kind of goes away a bit. So usually you're procrastinating because you're finding it daunting or something, whereas vacuuming your studio floor is a lot easier, or colour swatching your pastels or sharpening your pencils, things like that is a lot easier than actually getting started on a big project. So whereas everyone in my membership know we do everything exactly the same. So we start off with first of all, you've got to come up with the idea, but then you're going to get your sketch, or if you're using a line art or your grid, or however you're getting your initial lines down, that's the first step. All right, tape your paper to your board, get your lines down. Then next step is the background. background to me are fun because they're just playing with pastel sticks, getting messy, blending. My backgrounds are quite simple, um, just a few details here and there. So get that done. Then we start on the actual animal, and that's when I usually start working on the eyes and the nose, which to me is the best part. And then I finish off with the fur, which to me can be a drag, the fur. But because I've got pretty much most of the rest done, then I know I've just got to get that fur done, and we're home. We're done. So I think, yeah, exactly. Karen said baby steps, small chunks of time works for you as well. Yeah, but you've got to know where you're going to have, you can have your small chunks of time, but having that process, knowing exactly what you're going to do in that, if you've only got half an hour, you need to know what you're going to do in that half an hour, or else you're going to waste it. So definitely having a step-by-step process is a great way to get through that. And yeah, Cheryl, I love the eyes, and yes, it is the soul of the subject, and I like to get them done pretty close towards the start. I always get the background done first, but then the eyes are usually the first thing I like to start with on the animal, because I like it to be looking at me and watching what I'm doing and judging me. It makes me accountable to get it finished. Otherwise, it's just this poor animal with these eyes, and it hasn't come fully to life because you haven't finished it. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how people do the whole animal and leave the eyes till last. I cannot do that at all. All right, what other questions do we have here? All right, Vanessa she really struggles to see all the colours in the image. Does that get better with time and practice? And the answer is yes, it certainly does. So the more you look at an image, the more you start to see different colours in it. It is hard to pick out colours as a beginner, of course. But I know, like, say for this dog that we're doing in Pastel Week, Soft Pastel Week, hold on. I looked at because I had to pick colours before we started for everyone, so they knew sort of what they needed to get. So I've picked straight off this reference image, but the more I'm now starting the drawing and looking at it, the more I'm seeing other colours I should have picked. Okay, so it's more, the more you're looking, and that comes over time. So perfect example was the background. I picked some greens for the background, and I should have added I should have picked a little bit bright, not a brighter green, but a bit more green. I've got very olive brown greens, but the more I was looking at this, I'm seeing a few a bit brighter greens. So, and I'm sure I will see. I've only picked a handful of pencils. I try to keep it as limited as possible. But I'm sure the more we get into it, the more I'll see other colours. So it does come with just observing, and it comes with time as well. It's like anything. If you want to get good at, you got to put the hours in, 100%. I know. I've put in, since I started my membership, it's held me very accountable. I have to get tutorials done every month, and my drawing has improved no end as well. Okay, and it's just from doing it a lot more than I used to. So, and yeah, it's like anything. The more you do it, the better you get. And that will definitely come to you as well. So, all right, what else? Okay, Cheryl as well put finding time and motivation to begin. She doesn't have a dedicated area, so have to unpack and pack away. So frustrating. How to keep easy access and tidy at the same time. Well, that's what Di just answered that question for you with a sewing trolley, which is brilliant. And like I answered Cheryl by saying that's why I moved to soft pastel from oils, because oils were just a pain. I might get a half hour free to do something, and I knew I couldn't get all my setup and colours mixed and everything in half an hour, so I just didn't do it. So I would have to dedicate a couple of hours creating time, creative time. I used to go to a weekly art class at night just so I could like get some time away from kids and husband and all that. So I think moving to pastels really helped. Even graphite or charcoal or coloured pencil, any of those drawing mediums where there's not as much setup and cleanup. Because yeah, I would go ages without doing anything because the only time I had was only small chunks of time, and it just wasn't enough time when it comes to oils. Like it takes you half an hour to clean your brushes usually, and I would ruin so many brushes because I wouldn't clean them properly. So, and brushes are so expensive. Yeah, so and also yeah, trying to get that dedicated art space. I ended up in the garage, so I could shut the door to everyone. I used to share the garage with the car, so I'd have to wait. Like either if the car got parked in the garage, I'd have to wait for the engine to cool down before it was cool enough to go and sit in the garage. Or I'd have to make sure the car stayed outside while I did that and then bring the car in when I finished. So, there's always workarounds. We've all been there. Now I have my own double garage and no cars are allowed in here. So the car lives outside. So that was when we moved, that was the thing. I said to my husband, my art is taking precedence over the car. So it gets to stay outside. All right. Okay, and I've got one more here, which I thought was a good one as well. Was Xanthi put selling art, as I don't have room to store it, and I don't have lots of money to advertise. Okay, so we all as well. The more you do art, the more paintings you're going to get, and if you could see my studio, I have them everywhere. So not just behind me, I have lots and lots. So, but my biggest thing here is you don't need a lot of money to advertise, because I don't really know that I spend any money advertising my art like that for sale. It's more about people don't know it's for sale. Simple as that. If you actually put your work out there on social media, especially, I know I'm one of those that I'll share some work, but usually I'm sharing work in progress, things like that. But but that's more because I'm teaching. If I was just concentrating on selling my work, I would be sharing it, but a lot of us forget to say this piece is for sale. Contact me if you'd like it, or if you want more details. You see artwork all the time shared on, so you can't sell in certain groups, but on your own social media accounts, your Instagram, your Facebook, all the rest, make sure you put it is for sale, because it's something I tend to forget to put, and a lot of people don't know it's for sale. They might love it, but until you tell them it is for sale and they can have it if they want it, they sort of don't even think to ask. So that's the first step. Make sure people know it's for sale. Then get your work out there, because if people don't see it, then they don't know what you've got. So again, on all the social media channels, you can set up a free website selling your work, an e-commerce store, Square Up. I think it's called Square Up. It's Square Reader ones do a website. It is totally free to set up and sell your work. They just keep 1% of anything you sell. So that there's no cost involved there at all. It's just time to set all of that up. You got to take all your photos. You need good photos of your art, and just set it all up and put a price on. And then, but again, you need to then drive traffic to it. So once again, your social media, you've got to build that up. It's all marketing, and it all takes time. But other ways, go to your local art society, enter competitions, go to your cafes, doctors, go and approach people to see if they would have your work on their walls, and you have it's for sale, like a price and a for sale on there. Do a market stall maybe. You've just got to get your work out there, because it's as simple as that, I think. If people see it and know it's for sale, and as long as, I mean, I wouldn't expect someone who's just beginning to bother trying to sell their work. That can be a lot harder. But if you've put in the time and your work's getting better and better and better, then you need to just get it out there. Like Liz, one of my students, she just attended it was a cat show in the local area here, and she does commissions and has done a lot of cat portraits. So she set up a stall, advertising her commissions and selling mugs and things like that with some of her cat portraits on. And it's like when I do a market stall, similar thing. You might not sell a lot, but as long as you're handing out lots of cards and people have seen it, then later on they'll start to think, oh, hang on, that'd be a good present. I got a card off that lady who does commissions. I'll contact her. So it takes time, but you've just got to get your work out there and let people know it is for sale. So that's how I would tackle that one. Okay, and like I said, the better you get, the more sales will probably come as well. So yeah, it's word of mouth, especially with commissions. I've sort of stopped doing commissions. I still get asked occasionally, but they're just I don't really have much time to do commissions. So and selling my work, I'm going to try and get a shop set up, because I do get people asking if my work is for sale, which it is, but I don't really have anywhere. It's better to have a shop that you can then just direct people. So if someone does say, have you got work for sale? What pieces can I look at? You can just go, here's my shop, and send them directly to it online. And that's a good way they can see. And but yeah, like I run out of time all the time. So my biggest block to selling my work, I sell it because I put it in competitions. I have it in the art galleries. Our local art shop just sold 3 pieces, which was awesome. So it's getting out there like that. With my big dingo paintings, when I do finish one, I have a group of buyers and dingo people that usually they sell pretty easily and straight away, which is great. But that comes from building up followers as well. So I think, my next step will be creating a shop to send people to. So it takes time. Everything takes time. So, all right, Cheryl, how do I calculate cost? There's a couple of ways. Cheryl, you're in the Creative Balm membership. So if you go to the Stage 4 Rooster module, there's a whole section on selling your art and pricing. Okay, so I usually work off a square inch price, but you can work off a time price, and also just what you're comfortable with, what you're happy to let it go for as well. That comes into it as well. If I went by time, I would ask for hundreds, thousands, but I went for the art subject or experience. It would be under $100. Yeah, exactly. You can't go by hours when you're first starting out. because you are going to put a lot of more hours in than someone who's a bit quicker at it, I suppose. Yeah, but you'll figure it out. The if you start off at an hourly rate, but your rate's quite low because you're at a beginner's hourly rate, a bit like if you're an apprentice working, the better you get, your hourly rate, your price will go up, but you'll be quicker at it. So you'll be making money there as well. Okay, so yeah, so definitely go and check out all the stuff I've got in the membership, all about pricing your work. So for those that are watching the replay or are on here that aren't in the Creative Barn, the premium tier, which is what is open for 2 weeks at the moment, it's not just me teaching you how to draw in soft pastel, how to draw realistic wildlife and nature art in soft pastel, charcoal and graphite. They're all the tutorials. There's over 100 in there. I add to them every single month. There's a lot more involved in it. We have fundamental lessons. So a lot of people always say to me they love the fundamentals because they're just getting into art. They love what I do and want to learn how to create the animals or pet portraits, things like that. But when they get in and find out we have a whole module with, I think there was 50 lessons or more, all on fundamental art lessons. So it's a great place to start. And then we go right through to, like I was just saying to Cheryl, about our rooster section, which is the next step. Like where to now, you know, things like entering competitions, taking on commissions, building a website, doing an Etsy store and setting up a drop shipper to it, you know, learning all different things like that come with that next step. Once you're confident with your art and you feel like you're at a point you want to try and start selling, that's what that module's for. So the premium tier covers from absolute beginner right through to selling your work, okay? And then, of course, it has all of the fun stuff like the community. We do Zoom sessions every single week. We all know and love each other really well. And just, yeah, it's just fun. Fun. We're always doing something exciting in there. So, all right. Gay, Tarab and Al from Dolby have a poultry and feather club and have regular competitions. Maybe an idea for someone who loves to paint chooks. Yes, definitely, Gay. That is a perfect place to start. If you're into, painting chooks. I love chooks. I have chooks myself. So chickens for those that aren't Australian. But yeah, great idea. And it horses especially, like everyone, you know, horse people love their horses, don't they? So we have a rodeo here, just down the road actually. Once a year it gets thousands of people to it, even though we're like in the middle of nowhere, tiny little town. But it's called the T-Bar Rodeo, and it's on the rodeo circuit, and so like it's a great weekend. People camp there, and but you can have a stall there. So if I was smart, or if I had the time, I would be taking reference images of cattle and horses, rodeo riders, like people doing. I would contact, I don't know what it's called, but you see photographers that take photos of people on their horses, like jumping around and all the rest of it. I would probably, because I don't have any images myself, but that could be a start. I could go to the rodeo, take images, then create paintings to sell the next year. But if you didn't have images, I could contact a photographer that does and ask them if I could paint their work. And or even just horse paintings, I think would sell really, really well. But also you've got to have that variety of some original paintings that are like 500, 1,000, 300, whatever, originals. because you don't know, some people have more money than others. There could be people there that $1,000 for a painting is nothing, but then you need that lower end of having some greeting cards, some prints, maybe a couple of mugs, tote bags are always good, things like that. Okay, so yeah, you need a variety of stuff, but yeah, you just got to knuckle down and put your thinking cap on and figure out, all right, this is what I paint, this is what I love to paint. Who would my target market be? Who would want to buy that work? Okay, so with animal art, I find anything African, like tigers, leopards, all of that, never sell. Like the lemur behind me, that probably will never sell. But certain animals do. I find my dingoes are pretty good. Cows sell all right as well. Maybe if you put animals in landscape is the hottest selling painting style there is. So animals in a landscape could be a bit better than, say, like more what I do, which is the portraits. Flowers sell all right. Just look up what sells, what your style is, and who would want to buy it, and then start to sort of focus on that. You could even go into, I had a lot of interest. I did a magpie. This is quite a few years ago. I haven't done it since. I should do it more, but again, time. But I was painting. I love drawing magpies and that. So I put one in Magpie Lovers Australia, and I just put it in there and just said, I thought you guys would love to see this. This is my latest magpie painting or drawing. And my inbox just got inundated with people like, oh my God, that's amazing. Do you do commissions? Have you got any other magpie paintings? Blah, blah, blah. Like, so if you find the right people that just love that particular animal, like I said, you can't sell in some of those Facebook groups, but you can put it in there and just say, I thought you'd appreciate this. There's all the different dog lovers. So not just a dog in particular, but target, if you've drawn a pug, target pug, go to pug lovers or whatever. Okay, so you just got to put that thinking cap on and really start to figure it out. But again, as an absolute beginner, I wouldn't bother. I would wait till I got my technique down and got better and better. Okay? All right, guys, I've been talking for an hour, so I'll let you go. Hopefully, they were just some questions. I have a heap more written here, so we might do this again. Now, for those doing Soft Pastel Week, I will see you in there tonight, where we're going to talk. We're going to just focus on time management and talk about that. I know I've talked about it before on here, but I wanted to sort of talk about it a little bit more. And for everyone else, I'll see you next week. And I hope, thanks, Gay. I hope I got you thinking. All right. See you guys. Bye.